At this very moment, I'm making myself some broth of bone. Some bone broth. I've poured in about a cup of bone broth into the pot. I'm currently peeling some garlic to put into it and boil it. As of right now, I only have 2 pieces of salmon left in my freezer, and that is the totality of the food that I have at the moment. You have no idea, I'm hungry right now, but if I eat that, I'm definitely going to be starving tomorrow. So, save those 2 pieces of fish, about medium-sized pieces of fish, save those for tomorrow. I'll be a little hungry through the night tomorrow, but I'll at least make it to Friday, where I'll be able to get some food from work, and that'll be my meal for that day, and then that'll help me to survive till Saturday, where I'll be able to get a restock of food for Saturday and Sunday. But in the meantime, I've only got 2 little pieces of food left that I can eat. I had 1 meal yesterday, also just 2 pieces of salmon. And I already had my 2 pieces of salmon for today. Where I live, there's a laundromat area, and sometimes people leave things there. They leave things behind for other people to come take with them for free. So I've decided that at least once a day I'm going to go out there around the afternoon and check and see if anyone's left anything, because sometimes people leave snacks, sometimes people leave food there, things to eat. And just yesterday, I found someone who left behind, because a lot of the people who come here, they come here for vacations and things like that, so they'll leave some like fresh things behind, like a box of chips, snacks, things like that they don't want to take with them. They haven't opened or touched yet, so they'll just leave them behind. And I got a vacuum that way. I got a free vacuum. Really nice vacuum too. They didn't need it anymore, so they just left it in there. And yeah, so yesterday I went there and I grabbed out. First off, they left 2 things of like coffee mix, but I don't drink coffee, so I left that. But what they also left was like one of those big containers of Heinz tomato ketchup. Fresh. The seal was still on it. Guess they bought too much. Probably had like a cookout and then bought it expecting, but then had some left over. And they left it in there for free, so I went ahead and picked it up. So now I have like one of those big containers of Heinz ketchup, the ones that you fill the smaller ones with. Yeah, so I have some condiment now to go with my meal. I had some yesterday. It was really good. It's nice and sweet. I have these little glass bowls, so I took a spooned some out, put it in the little glass bowls, chopped up my tilapia. Is it tilapia? No, it's salmon. It's salmon. Chopped up the salmon into little pieces and then had a little dip, basically, to go along with my food. Yeah, but since I already had my pieces of salmon for today, I can't dip into the ones for tomorrow, so I'm just having some bone broth with a little bit of garlic. Besides that, what I have is, I have cocoa powder. Yeah. Sometimes when food is especially low, I just take a little spoon of cocoa powder, just eat that, and that'll sate hunger for a little bit. but that's what I have. Other than that, it's all seasonings and some leftover things of bone broth, water. That's cat food, can't eat that. I've got a little thing of vanilla. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I've got bone broth, cocoa powder, and 2 pieces of salmon, which will be 0 tomorrow. Yeah, that's it. That's what I got. So, gotta make that last. And garlic bulbs. I do have garlic bulbs to put with other food. Maybe even snack on a garlic bulb or 2. Not the whole bulb, but just like a little piece, you know. You peel off the outside, snap one of the little bits off, and eat that for a quick snack. It's good for you. It is healthy. That is true. Yeah. Currently, I've been in the midst of figuring out the pricing for this poster thing, and I'm always worried that people will be like, it costs too much, or, you're trying to cheat me or something, and then, like, just abandon the entire thing, abandon the entire deal. But what I charge is fair rate, and even a little less than what is considered like that mid-range. But I did all the calculations. I went through, I did the whole, how much detail, how much time, how much work it'll take. Came out to about, realistic pricing, $490 for like a fully done, furbished kind of stage play poster. Full scene, detailed, custom text, custom typeface, I should say. Simple shading. Yeah. Not the most glamorous commission. A lot of the price comes from the fact that it might be used for advertising, if the person decides to go through with it. Essentially like a licensing commercial fee for using it to try and advertise their product, their not product, but it is like a stage play. And the quality, I do believe that, I know how simple my thumbnails look, but that's not my primary artwork. That's quick stuff, side stuff, for fun stuff, for me type stuff, done in like 40 minutes kind of thing. But that's not the, what's the word? That's not the product shelf stuff. That's not what that is. But yeah, I've been worrying about that all day. And I realize that when I get really worried about something, I just want to go like take a nap, or like go to sleep, or I just go lay down to try and cope with it, and it starts to feel like a laziness to me, and it gets me all stressed out. But then I realized, do some shadow self-integration, acknowledging it instead of getting down on myself or trying to suppress it, just trying to channel it in more productive ways. So I've been scheduling more like purposeful rest time throughout the day, because I realize when I'm working constantly, doing labor constantly, and then the stress makes me want to rest, and then I feel bad for it. But I realize, like, no, I should probably start scheduling that time, and I have been doing that. Yeah. I've been scheduling more structured downtime and intentional rests, and I've realized that it doesn't necessarily have to just be napping. That downtime could just be watching a show, that downtime could just be. I also realized that, like, I try to go to watch YouTube a lot. And one of the things that, not YouTube a lot, but I'll try to put on a YouTube video to distract me from the stress. And I realized that, I think I brought this up before, one of the best ways for me to do that is instead to play the YouTube video on the TV instead. Which I did that yesterday. And it really helped a lot for it to be on the TV instead of on my phone. Turning it into more of that time. And what was funny is that I was able to work excuse me. I was able to work while it was playing on the TV in the background. I just realized I can unplug this. There we go. Save myself some energy. Anyway. Yeah, I realized it actually helps to have it playing on the TV behind me while I work when that happens. And it's treating it in a more constructive way. Something about that helps me a bit. And, is this taped? Hold on. Sorry, I'm noticing little things. Okay, that's good. Anyway. Yeah, so more structured downtime. That could be time when I just take a pause to play a video game. Maybe even just have fun recording playing a game. Or read a book. Or take a nap. You know, schedule in those moments. They're smaller bits of productivity, enrichment, rest, just taking a moment to chill out, prevent that burnout sensation. Yeah. So that's one thing. And then the other thing is all day I've been preparing to record that special video that I wanted to do, that I mentioned, I guess, the day before yesterday now. And it's I haven't started it quite yet, obviously, because I'm recording this. I decided to go ahead and make myself a quick bone broth, type lunch, and then take a moment to just chill out for a second and then record that. But I was still feeling that pressure from not having recorded, that kind of internal pressure from having not recorded any journals or logs or what have you yet. So I decided to go ahead and record this one before I do that. I feel better already. I feel like that internal pressure is getting released. I feel more centered now, more calm. Yeah. But something new, man. You've only been in there for 5 minutes, kitten. Wait, you gotta be patient. Can't have you out while the stove is on like this. Yes, there you go. But anyway, I just wanted to talk about some fun things I've been getting interested in right now, which is, one is, like, I've got all kinds of ideas. I do. I mean, that's nothing new. I've got all kinds of ideas, all kinds of things I want to try, mainly for video ideas, but also just been researching things. And something that's really been on my mind recently, and I've really been looking at, is fixed camera angle stuff. Yeah, as I've been getting back more into looking at games and things like that, as I've been looking more into TV shows and games and those little things that I kind of let fall to the wayside for a bit, I've been researching a bit more on different things regarding that. And one of the things that has caught my attention the most recently is fixed camera angles. Like those old adventure / puzzle / survival games RPGs like Final Fantasy 7 through 9, or 10. 10 had them as well. Resident Evils, Final Fantasies, Grim Fandango, those narrative adventure games, role playing games, survival horror games. There's been all kinds of games with fixed camera angles. Fighting games too. Like, doesn't Devil May Cry also have fixed camera angles? I think it might. But I've been really fascinated by those recently, and I've really been thinking about that idea of, wouldn't that be interesting? Wouldn't that be kind of a fun thing to do, fun thing to try? Making a game, or putting something together like that. A story, interactive story, so basically a game, that utilizes fixed camera angles. And the thing is about fixed camera angles is that they don't necessarily have to be static camera angles. It's just that the camera angles are curated by the game director, the programmer, Here's the thing, right? I've got no programming skill whatsoever. I'm actually rather poor when it comes to mathematics and things like that. Pretty poor with it. Like, I can go up to algebra and pre-calc, but there's a certain level of that where I'm just lost. It is not my strong suit. Mathematics, equations, and all that. It's not my strong suit. Past a certain level. Like, I can do algebra. Great. I can do algebra 1, algebra 2. I can do pre-cal. I can even do trigonometry. But there's a certain level where it's just like, oof, you're gonna need to, sit with me and explain this in more detail. Before I continue on with this. It's not like I'm incapable of understanding it, but there just comes a point where it doesn't quite compute as well with me. So, oftentimes I turn to more visual things, or I end up having to ask people for help who are much more skilled when it comes to numbers than I am. So, yeah. I do sometimes wonder, what it would be like to make a video game and things like that, but my role would end up being direction, because I can think up systems just fine. The design of it, the push and the pull, the how the different parts come together, how the gameplay works. But the problem is that with games, a lot of that is programming and numbers and math to actually put that all together and make it work, So, and that's the thing about game directors or planners. Hold on, Numa. Oh, I love you. Hold on. You've only been in there for 10 minutes now. I do understand that, having that technical skill is helpful. But much to my joy, being a game director does not require that you be a programmer. I've gotten a lot of experience now, just coming up with game design and then even getting places to practice it. Even Dungeons and Dragons, it's not necessarily a video game, but there's a lot of places where you can apply certain aspects of design and see how they play out in real time and test them in that way. So, maybe one day, maybe one day, I'll get to do something like that. But sometimes, like today, I saw a job listing for a job listing for Curiomatic again, and it had to do with like level stuff, but unfortunately, it was all related to working in Blender and things like that. It wasn't like, it was more of like map implementation, if that makes sense. More of map implementation through the programs and the software and programming and things like that, rather than the more external sort of abstract map planning. It's good bone broth. So, had that, and I don't have anything that could possibly run Blender, even if I wanted to. And the thing I have is that strong. I crash under the weight of it. Yeah. So, kind of limited on those options. But, on most fronts, most of my efforts at the moment are motivated by hope, an intrinsic push. I hope to kind of balance that out eventually with more extrinsic push. But, I'm not sure if it's gonna come or if it's gonna happen, I guess it would be safe to say that this is another one of those moments where loneliness is kind of setting in. And I realize I'm kind of by myself here. That always happens occasionally. Just a moment where I start to feel down. The loneliness setting in, just like, that sort of feeling of like there's no one to talk to. It always comes and it goes and builds up that little bit of pressure on the inside. Yeah. Sometimes it's good to just ramble on. Not take yourself too seriously. But yeah. Just looking out the window right now. Taking it all in. It felt nice to go outside earlier and just take a walk. The sun is especially bright. Although it could, of course, be that I've just been inside for too long, and my eyes aren't as used to the bright lights outside. Well, the normal light outside, but it feels bright now. Could be a bit of both. So I've probably should, take more walks outside and exercise my eyes a bit more in regular light. Yeah. But, just gonna keep carrying on for right now. This is one of those more intermin sort of update type journals, I guess you could say. The bone broth is really good. Thankfully, I've got quite a few cartons, at least 3 cartons of bone broth, so I'm probably gonna pour myself some more after I finish this cup, and that should hold me through the rest of the day. Thankfully, it's It gives the feeling of being filling. And it's good. You put some seasoning, some salt, some pepper, some Italian seasoning too. I think I could be a game director one day. One day. For real, you know? My one very good friend, he talks about making games, but sometimes I'm worried that he doesn't really have what it takes to do it. And I encourage him a lot, help to give him nudges, advice, but when it comes down to really having the discipline to do it, because there is a certain amount of self-discipline to doing anything, really. Making it more of a habit. But my one very good friend, he always waits for motivation to come. Some sort of divine inspiration to strike him, and he won't do anything. He won't do anything unless he feels that miraculous 1 in 100 motivation to do something. Even if it's something he really wants. And so it'll just be months in between, and he won't even touch programming. Oftentimes he just kind of settles into a sort of avoidance or a lethargy, an ennui when it comes to even those things that he's really interested in. And if he's not motivated to do it, not demotivated, not burnt out, just if he's not explicitly like, ooh, I feel the tingles, I feel the flash, the artistic yearning, the burn, then he won't touch it. He won't do anything. It's not hopeful. You can't really live that way. Otherwise, you're not going to do anything. He waits for the vibe, the mood to come. And if it's not that, then he just won't start. It's very troublesome. So, I gotta sort those kinds of things out. Figure out the balance of different things. Maybe the game-making future isn't necessarily with my one very good friend. Maybe it's with someone else, and me and him, we just, do the things that we can and do. And you know what? Maybe it's a slow process building up to that. I'm not sure yet. Just do what I can on the side. Currently, I got nervous enough about the whole price thing that I'm giving myself some time to cool down from it. So I put what was it? It was like a 1 hour sort of snooze delay on DMs, direct messages, and so on. Just giving myself a chance to simmer down on it, and then I'm going to check it see what's going on there, and probably right after I finish recording this, I'm gonna go check it and see what's up, or if there even is a response yet at the moment. Yeah. I'm pretty proud of myself, though. I set up a Capital One account, linked it to a PayPal, so I'm able to take the I'm able to, you know, intake potential payment from commissions now. Yeah, that was far too little bone broth. I'm gonna need to make myself some more. Yeah, I'm able to intake things from commissions now. Payments and things like that. Trouble is whether or not I'll actually get paid. Oh, there we go. Used up a carton of bone broth. Make sure I preserve those other ones. But you know, everything just kind of builds up, right? As I've said already, each step, each little thing, a little bit closer than you were yesterday, leads to a million more outcomes, more possibilities. Each step builds into the next. So I'm just going to keep doing that. I'm just going to keep building up those steps. 100 steps to 200 steps to 1,000 steps. Keep seeing where things end up. But yeah, I'd say that's it for now. I'll go ahead and stop recording this and upload it, and then start recording that special thing that I wanted to make after I finish this bone broth. I tend to not speak as well when I have an empty stomach or when I'm hungry. So, yeah, let me take care of that really quick.